Hey, good afternoon. You are looking live at Charlotte, North Carolina. My name's Jay Mervis. Welcome to this installment of the Hammerdown Podcast. I'm here with Kelly Evans today. I'm at Just Workout here in Charlotte. Kelly, why don't you introduce yourself? Good afternoon. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and Just Workout and what you guys are doing here?
I'll do that. Thanks for coming out, Jay. We appreciate it. So my name's Kelly Evans. I'm originally from Charlotte, which is a rarity now, right? Not happening every day. So Just Workout, we've been around for about 25 years. We're just a small mom and pop shop. We do one-on-one small group personal training was what we've been doing forever. And then while you're here today, we stumbled into the Parkinson's thing about 7 years ago.
Wow. So yeah, the industry trend, everybody, Kelly, seems to want to talk about the aging population. We've got, baby boomers till 2031 are going to be retiring. So how did you end up in the Parkinson's
area?
Slow roll market?
Well, it started before that. My wife's been working with the old people. That was her specialty 20 years ago. And here I am with a martial arts background. And I was teaching professionally and working with professional fighters. And then the lay person, how to defend yourself and going through the whole traditional format of martial arts. And I met Rose, my wife, working with old people. And I thought, that's kind of interesting. That's pretty neat, but kind of blew it off. Didn't think much about it, kept doing what I was doing. And I realized it was a blend of the two, though. Some of the movements really were the same things. The workouts were the same. They were just scaled differently. And I got more and more interested in what she was doing than what I was doing. And I thought what she was doing was more important. It looked cool as well. And I could see the results instantly when she was. You're chasing, what are we all chasing?
Right.
What are we chasing?
Well, chasing the fountain of youth, right?
Bingo. We're chasing wellness, right? What is wellness? And what, I viewed as wellness at 30, now that I'm 54, it's like night and day. But she was able to do that relation. She could relate to him then. Right. And it was interesting. I couldn't really, if you know what I mean.
Totally, because you're like focused and you're like, so I just don't see this vision because everything's going well for me. And if you're, a high performing athlete, those kind of things don't happen. But when, I'm a sales guy, marketing guy, break down markets, talk about what does the opportunity look like. And with 10,000 retirees a day for the foreseeable future to talk about 2031. So for the next 8 years, right, the baby boomers are all going to be into this wheel of, how do I occupy my time? How do I live my best life? And fitness is a huge component of that. So as I tell people, hey, I do CrossFit. I got my plug for the 24-hour rowathon in November. I'm going to wear this shirt quite a bit because we raise money for Charlotte Foundation.
Good cause.
And we do a lot with that on the 24-hour rowathon. But Kelly, so when you've obviously identified 10,000 seniors a day, they've identified that in CMS data, which sometimes doesn't pick up all the dimes in there, but there's 500,000 people identified, probably more like 1 million people with Parkinson's. How did you and the firm here at Just Workout end up identifying that this is a market we can go and make an impact without the pharmaceutical and the clinical outcome of I want to be better? How did you guys get into this?
Total accident. I don't know how else to say it. I think everything that's good happened to me has been an accident. I didn't plan on personal training. When I left that martial arts, that was Rose's going, hey, I think you have something different to offer. And I did. And then transitioning to this, I was actually working with a client, doing the boxing, doing everything that I do, not having a clue how beneficial it was to him. I had not heard of Parkinson's and boxing in that relationship. I had no clue. And his wife mentioned it to me. And as soon as she mentioned the program that was being taught up in Indianapolis, that was it. There was no hesitation at all. I knew, I've got what you need. I've got the skill set for that. And now that I've been scaling my other skills, wow, I got this. This is perfect. I made the call. They couldn't get me in. I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and pay you for my certification. When somebody drops out, you let me know. I'll be on the first plane. And without any question, I'm there, put me in. I started calling it the 50 Shades of Parkinson's.
Wow. Wow. So so my research from Johns Hopkins University was the 3 biggest causes of Parkinson's are head trauma, Agent Orange, and Roundup. So that's part of all of those people that would have been consumed by that. And then flat out age, which is wild to me because you can't stop Father Time. And what are you doing with your program to get people, because age is like, you can't stop Father Time. How does Just Workout, and Kelly, you and the team deal with that?
Yeah. So going down that rabbit hole of like, oh my gosh, what is Parkinson's?
Right.
And that's what you're saying. When you still Google to this day, you will see age first and foremost, 90% of the time. What is the number one?
Right.
And then just recently, we've noticed something's happened here in North Carolina where they actually admitted that water and what's in the water might have contributed to somebody having Parkinson's out in the east side of the state. We won't drop names.
We'll drop names, but
we won't say that. But you know, they've been running commercials on that for a while. Hey, if you got this from there,
please call the attorneys.
That's the first time in 7 years I've heard of exactly. There's actually an admittance now of hey. Mm-hmm. And so, long story short, I took what I learned and started moving people, and it was awful. It was terrible. I almost quit. She'll tell you, Tracy will tell you. She's in the background, guys. It was awful. I just had no flow, and I was used to flowing and having things work on a timely way. And I was like, oh, this is awful. I almost quit. I mean, I truly looked at my wife and said, this isn't working. I'm terrible. I suck. I'm just can't do this. And I kept sticking it out. And I don't know, here I am 8 years later, it started to flow. And so I kept trying things because I was getting every level of progression. And I wasn't expecting that because I'd been working with my one boxer. And so I only knew his Parkinson's.
Sure.
And so all of a sudden I'm getting all this Parkinson's, the 50 Shades of Parkinson's. And I was like, okay, what do I do? And so I just knew I needed to move them. I had to move them. And so hence why the boxing, I got that. And I said, well, let me just go back to my grassroots. Here we are. Let's just do these
Everybody
things,
goes
right?
to the lowest common denominator, right?
Right, exactly. And so motion is motion for you, me, and everybody walking, going back to what is longevity and wellness. We got to move. Motion is the foundation of everything in our body, inside out.
Sitting's the new smoking. So
there you go. It is. It's true, right?
Yeah, totally.
And then there's actually a quote with this training I did years ago. And it's for every hour you sit, you take 2 hours off your life.
Oof.
So every assessment I did, there was one certain common denominator. They all sit way more than they should. So here we go with movement. I started the movement. I took what I learned up there with the boxing. And then from there, it was just, it's just part of my nature. What can I do better? There's got to be something more out here. And I didn't want to go down the pill route because they've been there, done that.
Yeah, I mean, I much prefer anything to the pharmaceutical industry, right? So once you get into that wheel, you know, if you can't, and this is a great opportunity to go and slow roll the aging process in Parkinson's through some of what you leverage with technology and physical therapy and exercise, you know.
Exactly, Jay. And not only have they been there, done that, though. Everybody had come to me had been there, done all these things.
Sure.
It's hard. They'd already exhausted that. But so when I asked those questions, hey, what kind of meds are you on? Well, the list is this long.
Yeah.
So, okay, how's that working? It's not.
It's not. But the doctor keeps telling me, and the doctor went to school for 8 years, and I got a copay, and that's what happens.
And so then I go, well, tell me about your assessment. And, oh, that's it? It just, nothing was adequate, and nothing seemed to be changing for them. The only thing that seemed to change when I said, well, tell me about the assessment you had before that. Well, what was different? Nothing. It was the same repetitive thing. So nobody was thinking out of the box.
Sure.
And that drives me crazy. It drove me crazy. And so I kept exploring movement. And no matter what the situation was or who was in front of me, what can I do? What can I do to make them move, but also think? Because the very first thing I was taught the very first thing I was taught was this is a progressive neurological disease.
Sure.
But you and I see tremors,
right,
postural deviations,
right,
twistedness, all this physicality. It is a neurological disease.
Right. So how do you slow roll that?
Bingo. You said that's the $1 million question, right? And that's what everybody's chasing with Parkinson's.
Right. There's only one drug out there, and it's super expensive, and that's it.
Yeah.
So part of what my research is, I'm nowhere near the subject matter expert you and the firm are, but it releases dopamine because that's what's being blocked in your brain.
Correct.
So when anybody goes through some sort of workout process, your endorphins and everything gets released. And if you go and do this all the time, it's going to increase, it's just like any muscle, right?
Bingo. You work it, you see some change, right?
Right.
And so, not knowing any more than I know, I knew that like for you and me, it works.
Right.
Let's see what works for them and how much motion and how do I vary it if somebody is in a wheelchair? What can I do? How the box can we get with things? And, obviously they're restricted in some ways, and you add the fall risk in there. So how do you protect them and train them? Right. And so that's just been the challenge all along. But I really kept pushing over the years of like, how do we integrate the mind and the body? Because the mind navigates the body.
Right.
Nobody can deny that. You can't, I can't. And I thought back about everything I've done, martial arts training. And I still enjoy teaching martial arts and self-defense. And I say that, and you've heard me say it 1,000 times. I always use that saying. Your mind navigates your body. The mind navigates the body. You can't get around that. So why not train their mind? And not to kind of lead in before you, but that's kind of how this.
So yeah, we're gonna go there. But you're killing me by talking to Tracy all the time while she's sitting there.
Yeah, well, Tracy's my brainchild. She's my like soundboard with everything. Which she's my how I found you or you found me.
Well, but that's the issue. I can't tell everybody that I did a bunch of advanced market research because Tracy's a good friend of ours, a neighbor, and we're talking about all these things and trends within the industry of what's going on today. We're going to transition over to tech. Because I think this is one of the coolest things that we could do is talk about how technology is an enabler, right? We're not going to talk a lot today about Fortinet's technology, but we do secure patient data. You've heard me talk 100 times about the fabric. Our teams talk about the fabric, next-gen firewall. Today, credit card transactions, we do protect PCI. I got to throw something in there about what we're doing. I can't wait for Q2 results to come on. Our healthcare team did an amazing job this quarter. So Kelly, let's transition over to tech and let's see what we're doing from a technology perspective as a tool to complement what's going on with Parkinson's disease.
So I guess 4 years ago or so, to your audience, I started going down the rabbit hole of like what's out here for the mind and the body. And of course, most everything was geared towards athletes. It always is. It starts with athletes first and it works to the knees. Yep. And I found different systems. I actually went to Miami, tried one out, didn't like it. It was too high end for what I'm working with. It was too fast. It didn't have enough variation. And so I stumbled on this company here called SmartFit. Okay. They're out of California. Had a conversation with her. They were working, their videos were all kids in schools, which I loved, which is great. Still love the concept. I wish more schools were doing it. And then I said, well, I'm going to try it for this. And she was like, you're kidding me. And so the concept is to implement physicality and reaction and the brain working. See how Jay responded to that? And make them think, move, respond, and do it in whatever way I decide to do with it. It comes with like 700 games. It's incredible. It's nice and simple. And one of the things I kept hearing as I was doing assessments was, hey, well, Doc says do crossword puzzles.
Sure.
So we're crossword puzzle amped up on your feet. I want them vertical if I can. I need them having fun. There's a huge component that's overlooked, by the way, with Parkinson's. When you lack dopamine, you lack the drive to do anything.
Right.
And so hence why they just seem depressed. 99% of all my assessments, they are. They'll tell you that flat out. And so I want them to have fun.
Sure.
So I was looking for something fun. And so I discovered SmartFit. I like to use it. This is a very simple game. This is called our ABC games. It's where I actually score them, which is beautiful. I actually use this in my assessments to see how they respond, to see if they can stay on track. And then, okay, are they timely? Are they unilateral? Little things that they don't know that I'm looking at. Are they only using one hand or using both hands? Those kind of things. Awesome. But it's fun. And I actually have 10 pods. I have twice the amount of this, but today was a nice, simple demonstration. But one of the games I like to do is I'll handicap them, right hand only, then left hand only. Yep. Most often with Parkinson's, they're going to they exhibit a lot more problems on one side of the body. Jay's like Matrix, supple leopard. So I'll say, hey, right hand only. They also close down vocally. They won't say anything. So I make them F, G, H, yell the letters out loud.
Right.
And then we can just go on and on in there. I mean, I just go on and on. I love balance stuff. So, hey, well, I've got you.
Am I even old enough to do this?
Barely. Barely qualified. I did get his IQ score before we got here, but anyway.
Do I have to sign a waiver on this? Because the world's run by accountants.
If he gets his own channel, it's not my fault.
I just hope I pass the test. And they don't tell me I've got to go and get more tests.
Hold on, Tracy, give me my phone to simplify the game. I'm kidding, Tracy. I'm kidding. We're going to dumb this down. I got it on the slowest speed possible, Jay.
All right. And we used to do something similar without this much technology when I coached basketball or coached softball. I know, Corey that runs CrossFit Weddington, he's got some very impressive cognitive games for some of his motocross folks. So this is something that is, for high performing athletes and obviously for somebody like me.
Right. So let's go right hand only to start with, Jay. All right. Ready? Go. Boom. Yeah. So while he's doing this, not only does it score him, but it tells me his reaction time.
And I know I hit that one.
Exactly. Let's go left hand only.
I have no beer.
No. You're right. Yeah, and it tells me if they've been drinking. You see how his left hand is now turned back to his right hand? And so if they're not following instructions like him, then I get to yell at them. All right, very good. I'll give you another game.
You're not going to send me to IKEA if I can't follow instructions on that one.
This is a very fun game I like. It's a little bit more thought involved. The beauty behind the SmartFit is I get to set the game. I set the length of time of the game, the speed of the game, and the sensitivity of the pods as well, which is actually super important because the connectivity of their body and their mind isn't quite what we want it to be. So the sensitivity does make a difference.
Just make it as easy as possible. I mean, or do you want me to go like I have?
You can hit them as hard as you want, but I'm looking more for skill and speed, more ballet-esque, okay?
You want me like this?
Here's your game, young man. All right, when you hit go, the letter R's for your right hand, L's for your left hand, B, hit it with both noodles.
Okay, is there one for your other left hand?
No. All right, let's see what he does. Yep. Right on. Oh.
This green noodle's a little weak, by the way. It's not me.
That's what she said. Looking good. Time. Very good. Awesome. Not bad, my man. Not bad.
All right. So do I pass or do I have to come back for some?
Ooh, barely. I'm glad I had it in the slow mode.
Thank goodness. Right?
But that's an intro to what we do. And I can do it in a one-on-one format. We do it in our group classes. I actually have 10 pods. We do competitions. Just trying to keep them alive, make it fun, right? Entertain them by being functional, though. And functional is where it's at.
Right.
And
functional fitness.
It is.
Like what, it's not about can I go move a Volkswagen in the parking lot? And it's nobody wants to hit the button on I fall and I can't get up. Everybody wants to be able to do stuff, chase their grandkids around, do yard work, not at the scale we do yard work in my house, but I mean,
that's such a great way of saying that though. Like, what is their fitness? Right. What is their fitness now? Because obviously it is an older, so to speak, aging thing.
Some of them haven't worked out since high school, which they might have graduated in 1971.
Exactly. So their wellness looks different. But I have found that this translates to all of them, which is awesome. And when I had my wheelchair guy who couldn't tell me and he couldn't say anything, I didn't have to say a word. When I turned this on, a smile came over. And I
need a nap after this. That's how difficult this was. I need a nap. So,
getting tired.
It's impressive that a lot of people think that artificial intelligence and all these things are going to replace what the human being needs, but this is 100% a tool on top of some primitive, stuff that you would do for any kind of workout. Right. So
it's just putting it all together. And I'm so glad you said that. We frame so many things negatively.
Yeah.
And we're so quick to look at all the negative. This is a compliment. It's an asset to our program.
Right.
We're actually one of two in the country that have it.
Wow.
And I'm very fortunate. I have a great supporter of our program. I'm not going to name drop, but she is phenomenal. She has purchased all this for us. And she backs it up 100%. She actually even supports our scholarship program. So we have truly taken away all the no's.
No excuses.
There's no excuses. If you live close to us, you can't afford it. Don't worry about it. It's free. We're
awesome.
Here.
That's awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
It's better than visiting somebody in the hospital because they can't.
Oh, it's terrible. And our way works.
Well, in this,
it does work. I've seen it. We've seen people hold on.
Yeah.
And fight.
And one of the bigger things, you talked about something that I want to go back to is the senior population. I just did with Sarah Richardson from Tivity. They do silver sneakers. Part of what the aging community has a challenge with is that they're 80% of them spend too much time in isolation. No socialization. So, I showed up before, reviewed a class. It's pretty amazing to me seeing the group of seniors come in and, do a workout, and they were, to their maximum ability, they were walk out, the endorphins are going, smiling, ready to go. But those are the kind of opportunities that, with the socialization, go do something, right? And positive transition. It's awesome what you guys are doing. People give me a hard time for saying it's awesome. There's a lot of awesome things going on in the healthcare business. And I appreciate it, but I'm standing here with these two noodles. I just hit this stuff. It's going to transition us over to tunes, which to me, so I felt like I was a drummer. I'm obviously not a drummer. I'm an air guitarist. But one of the things, when I talked to Tracy, my advanced market research, and we're talking about what you do here. And I said, hey, this is my podcast, Trends, Tech, and Tunes. I didn't even introduce it correctly because that's how excited I was to be here. But we put the pedal to the metal, talk Trends, Tech, and Tunes. This is like corporate Christmas for me, Kelly. You're the guest. Who's the band?
Oh, top of the heap, the Foo. I'm a Foo Fighters guy. I'm not a fan like you, I've been told, but bottom line, I'm a Foo Fighters guy.
That's our bracket for
he's that whole, it's just the vibe they put out. I always thought they were just unbelievable.
So why do you love them?
It started with one song, Everlong. And I happened to hear it when I was skiing, which is my favorite thing to do, snow skiing. And so it's just a timing thing. And I heard it and I was just like, wow. And there's a line in there, if anything could ever be this real forever.
Right. And
I thought, this is it for me. This is where I'm in my sweet spot. When people go, where are you at? That's what's your number one right there. And just the song synced up and I was like, this is it. And I just kind of had that energy.
It does have the energy.
Oh my gosh.
My farm is Everlong Flower Fields. So, I mean, we're in the same club.
That's incredible.
That's cool. So
that's cool. Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
nuts.
Yeah, we're in the same age bracket.
Okay.
There's a high percentage of us that love Foo.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's cool that you were skiing and I could feel the whole vibe.
Well, all this put together. You talk about like music and what it does for you, right? And like you talk about wellness and what is wellness? Now that's such a big question. There's so much to it. We've lived in a world of physicality,
right?
That's the realm I think most of us lived in, but it's overlooked what the mental, the psychological, and spiritual state bring to the table.
Sure.
And that's what this is all about. Like, how do I bring the mind and the body together? And what do you do spiritually at the same time?
Right.
And nobody can deny a song can put you there.
Totally.
And so when people go, what's your favorite thing about skiing? I go, freedom. It's the spiritual side.
Right.
I love the physicality. I love the challenge, but it's hey, look where I'm at, man.
Totally.
Right? Yeah.
So since you picked Foo Fighters,
okay,
we'll go fantasy football style. What is one of their songs? It doesn't have to be that deep, but that ties into Parkinson's or fitness or just wellness. What's on your list?
Learning to fly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're looking to the sky to save me.
Yeah.
I have a big thing about ownership.
Right.
And so the one thing that I have said to every boxer over and over and over is you have to own this. This is on you and me now. You don't look at the doctor. Don't look at the medication. Don't look up there and blame. If you believe in it or you don't, that's your call. You got to have ownership in this. Don't look for somebody else to save you. You save yourself. And it's just my thing. For all of us, me included,
sure,
and I hold myself accountable. Like, don't look somewhere else. And that's just that little line. Not that encompasses the whole song.
No, but that's 100% wired in on that. Yeah. So exactly. I'll take two.
Okay.
This is tough because I'll take the next two and then you'll get two.
Okay.
But I don't know why, but I think of Aging, Saint Cecilia. It's one of their newer songs. I love that song.
I hadn't heard it yet. Okay.
So it's
okay. Shame on me.
3 albums ago, but yeah,
okay.
Saint Cecilia, and then A Matter of Time.
Yeah.
So A Matter of Time.
Now, what's that for you? What is that?
It's a matter of time. You can either take it head on and get in front of it and address it, or you're just going to get eaten by Father Time. So yeah,
there we go.
I'm not
right.
So all three of those songs are all together.
Yeah,
I think it's Saint Cecilia because I went to Catholic school and it reminds me of the nurses, nuns back in the day.
Right.
Saint Cecilia, and they were always old, so I don't know, that's why.
Right. No, I like that. That's good.
You got one or two more.
I got,
but most of the time, most of the time, like as Steve Harvey says, you're halfway through hell, why stop? So I mean,
just power on through, right?
On that note, I want to close out with one more Foo Fighters song, and it's one of my favorites, "Walk." If you're going to start somewhere, start walking. Right? If you're in a bad mood, start walking.
How simple is that, though, right?
Well, Occam's razor, the simplest answer is the right answer. So that's why I bring
KISS has been around forever. Keep it stupid simple, right? I always go back to my basics.
Right.
It's funny, all this full circle and putting hands in the batter. I do the same thing when I teach self-defense too. It's so simple. The art of no mind sometimes, I learned something great last week, actually. It's on topic, but kind of off. So I had them doing a walking drill in class, and I had them doing it slow. And everybody was botching. And I was like, just stop. Walk fast. And everybody walked fast, and it was perfect. I was like, what? It should be easier or slower. I showed you how slow. Just do it really slow. And when I told them to do it fast, it was interesting. They all got it right. And then there's the art of no mind.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we overthink things too, right? Just muddy it up and botch it up. And we're always busy thinking too. So there's too much thinking, right? So I think we have to let the music take over, let some of these things take over, and just go with it and run. So here we are.
Well, Kelly, thank you, and just work out for the time today. Listen, if you're in Charlotte and you have a family member and they're struggling on the Parkinson's or the socialization, stop by. They're over here in, the heart of the city here off Latrobe. But yeah, I mean, this is great. I really appreciate Kelly.
Oh, thanks for coming out. We appreciate it.
Thanks for letting me pass the cognitive test as well.
We'll score you later after the fact.
Hey, listen, put the pedal to the metal. Tell your mom, tell your friends, share it, like it. Thanks for tuning into the Hammerdown Roadshow.